discovery, and we got another action-packed discovery for you guys today, and honestly I cannot wait. So let's get on with it. So first of all, we are going to do the singles that I checked out last week. So let's kick off with a band called Zombi and their song Earthscraper. Now, this particular song is a prog rock song with many different elements, and it's got a really catchy melody, and I really do enjoy it. There are no vocals, but what I really enjoy is the overall melody. The melody repeats itself, and it's actually quite catchy. It's not as technical as some other prog rock bands out there, but it's certainly got its own presence, and this is a very interesting song. So the next band is Falconer. Kings and Queens.
Take command and rise from slumber. Our time must not waste away.
And this is a really good song as well. Now, I believe Falconer are sort of a prog power metal band, and surely they are influenced by such power metal along with progressive metal as well. There are some really nice moments. I love the chord progression throughout the song. His vocals are very good as well, having that dynamic and raw edge. The chorus is pretty catchy, but I do really enjoy that guitar solo. That guitar solo is absolutely fantastic. It overall escalates the song into the next level. Then we move on to a band called Arrival of Autumn and their song Apocalyptic. I believe this album is out as well, so go check out that album. It's brutal at times. There are some awesome breakdowns. There's some harsh vocals along with cleaner vocals throughout the chorus. The cleaner vocals I could give and take, but the clean vocals throughout the chorus is okay in my opinion. I would rather harsh vocals throughout the whole entire song, because incorporating the cleaner vocals in this song didn't really fit. It didn't really fit, and that's what I have a pet hate metalcore, is you get such aggressive verses and then you get some girly choruses, like what the fuck? But I just feel that this song could have been perfect with just harsh vocals. The drumming is really good. I love the drumming throughout the song. Pretty good metalcore song. Now we move on to a very interesting song, a band called Lord of the Lost, and that song, A Splintered Mind.
Love me. Will the splintered mind, could you still want me when you don't?
This is a very strong orchestral song. I wouldn't say it's metal per se, but I believe they're a metal band. And this is sort of a ballad, but you got some really strong emotional vocals, and I do love the string orchestration throughout this song. It's really good. There's a lot of emotion conveyed towards the listener, and you can tell there's a lot of sadness as well. And that's what I really enjoy about this song. It's a pretty catchy song as well, and I actually really enjoyed it. Now we go on to the newly released albums for discovery for this week, and first of all, let's kick off with a deathcore album called Aversions Crown, How Will Come For Us All. This is a deathcore album through and through, some awesome breakdowns. Now, I did see these guys live back a few years ago, Aversions Crown. They were really good. They are from Brisbane, Australia, and they know how to do deathcore right. Amazing guitar solos, amazing breakdowns, fucking absolutely incredible crushing guitar riffs that would just knock your socks off. It's just a really tight and cohesive album by this band. It's one of their best albums in my opinion. I just love how brutal this album is. Mainly just harsh vocals throughout this album, with just a really crushing lead guitar, and those riffs are so damn crushing, and I absolutely fucking love it. I will give this a 7.5 out of 10. We lead on to a band called Ulthar or Ulthar and the album Providence. Now, when I first heard this album, the first song had a really strong death metal feel, but throughout the album it progressively gets heavier and much more black. This is like a black and death metal album, and at times they incorporate some really nice moments, such as the really nice drum fills, the blast beats as well, and I do really enjoy his vocals. At first I thought it was going to be a death metal album, but it really transitions to such darkness, and this is a really dark album overall. Some really nice guitar work, some soaring solos as well, to just escalate the song into the next level. A very, very promising album this is, and it's definitely one of my favorites of this month. Ulthar Providence, I will give this an 8.5 out of 10. Then we lead on to BPMD, American Made. I just want you, brother. You better wash your believe it or not, the vocalist from Overkill, Mike Portnoy, and a few other members from different bands, they have performed a supergroup. And this album is good time old rock and roll. I didn't enjoy the first part of this album, but this album got very fun. It got really fun, and I started to really enjoy it. Mike Portnoy's drumming throughout this album is just absolutely fantastic, creating that old vibe rock and roll. This is a good old rock and roll time if you love it. Lyrics, on the other hand, are a little bit vulgar, especially Poo-Tang Pie. I think it's called Poo-Tang Pie. Yank at my meat. I mean, the lyrics overall are pretty vulgar, but it's a fun album, it really is, and I do enjoy it. I love the guitar solos throughout some of these songs. Evil's my favourite song off the album, American Made, the title track as well. But yeah, Mike Portnoy does a great job, and the vocalist of Overkill, Bobby Blitz Ellsworth, does a fantastic job on vocals. He's got that really rock and roll feel that I really enjoyed. So for BPMD, American Made, it's an above average album, so it's a 5.5 out of 10, and it's a fun album as well. Then we lead on to probably the worst albums I've heard this week. It's Hapeleptic, Overtrove, Behold the Arctopus. This album's a disappointment, it really is. It's avant-garde prog rock. There's some really different sounds. It just sounds all over the place, and I don't really enjoy it, and I don't know how other people can enjoy it, but I can see the attraction, how other people may enjoy it. Surely there are some fun songs, but I just feel this album just lacks direction, and to have different sounds, dissonant sounds at times, it just doesn't really make me want to listen to this again. But for Hapeleptic, Overtrove, Behold the Arctopus, I will give this a 3 out of 10. We lead on to some black metal now, and we got a Singaporean band, Welkin, and the album Recollections of Conquest and Honor. In case you don't know, I actually did review their song Conquest last week on Discovery. Well, they released an album finally, and this album is absolutely fucking fantastic. Now, they incorporate elements of Finnish black metal along with folky black metal, but very similar to bands such as Emperor as well, mixing at times sounding like Mayhem. I do really enjoy it, and I really enjoy his vocals as well. Some songs are absolutely fire. Conquest is definitely one of the best songs off the album, that's for sure. Especially that guitar riff reminds me of bands such as Maguire. That guitar riff, the chord progression throughout Conquest is so damn good, but it's just a really fucking fun album. Really fucking fun album to bang your head along. It's a great black metal album, especially for this year, and I absolutely loved it. Welkin, Recollection, Conquest and Honor certainly is one of my top albums of June at the moment. It gets a solid 8.5 out of 10. We move on to one of the better metalcore albums I've heard this year, and I absolutely love it. This is up to with Polaris, Bleed From Within, a band called Lightworker, and the album Fury by Failure. The sky arrives for me. Now they incorporate elements of metalcore along with deathcore at times, especially those breakdowns are really crushing. Really nice guitar solos as well that overall just escalates the album to the next level. This is a really fucking fun album, and I think a lot of you people that are watching Discovery absolutely enjoy. If you love metalcore, you're gonna fucking well love this. It's got such an ethereal atmosphere at times, really nice key moments, and some punishing guitar riffs that will just twist your guts, squeeze all the juices. That's how brutal some of these songs are. I do love the arrangements, some really good, awesome moments throughout this album, but for Fury by Failer, it slowly drops off a little bit, especially the second half of the album, but I still give it a 7.5 out of 10. We'll lead on to one of the most interesting albums of this week, and it's Smackbound, 20 out of 20. This album's certainly not 20 out of 20, nor even is it 10 out of 10, but I do commend the work. I don't know where I could actually put them. They incorporate elements of heavy metal along with symphonic metal. I would just call them a metal band. They are just a melodic metal band. It's melodic. Her vocals are very good on this album. I do love the vocal tone, and it's just a really enjoyable album to listen to. I've listened to this album a few times, but I'm slowly getting sick of it now. But this is why the score has degraded a little bit, is because it lacks repetitive listens, this album. And for Smackdown 20 out of 20, it's not a 20 out of 20, nor it's a 10 out of 10. It's just a 6.5 out of 10. Lead on to one of the most Sabbath-inspiring albums, and it is Curse the Sun, Excruciation. You'd swear Ozzy is on vocals on this album. You'd swear, because his vocal tone is spot on with Ozzy Osbourne's. Tony Iommi, you'd swear Tony Iommi is on this album as well, especially those sludgy riffs. This is like a Black Sabbath album, except a doomy version of Black Sabbath. There's some really awesome songs. It's very sludgy. Reminds me of the album like Master of Reality, that era of Black Sabbath, except this is much more doomier and much more heavier. But the vocals on this album sound like Ozzy Osbourne. It sounds like Black Sabbath. If you like Black Sabbath, you're going to love Curse the Sun, Excruciation, and it deserves to get a 8 out of 10. So then we lead on to a band that I absolutely love. It's Valdrin, Effigy of Nightmares. Now, this album is... It's so good. Such an eerie, atmospheric introduction, sounding like something out of like Resident Evil or something like that, something out of a horror movie or even the Blair Witch Project. It leads on to such one of the heaviest and brutal black metal songs of this month. It's really awesome. The guitar riffs, his vocals are fucking insane. Elements of how dark and evil this fucking album feels. The guitar tone is magnificent. The production is really good, what you want from black metal. Probably one of the best guitar solos of the year, which is with Basilisk of Light. It's so damn fucking good, this album. I absolutely love it. Maybe I'll give you an album review for this album, but I absolutely loved it. It gets a 9 out of 10. And that's it for the newly released albums on Discovery. We now go on to the albums I've explored. And the first album is Cathedral, Forest of Equilibrium. Look at the fucking album cover. You'd think this is sort of like a symphonic metal band, especially with the album cover and shit like that, except this is a sludgy but yet doomy, incorporating elements of funeral doom, incorporating death doom as well, incorporating many elements of doom on this album. And it is such a really good album, really is. This album took me by fucking surprise. If you love Doom, you're gonna fucking love this, because they incorporate every single part of Doom on this album. Some really nice fast moments as well. Really slow moments, sounding very similar to bands like Hooded Menace, Ahab, Evoken, all those other bands, and also sounding similar to Candlemass, Paradise Lost. I mean, this album has got everything, but for Cathedral Forest of Equilibrium, it gets a solid 8 out of 10. We lead on to one of the most interesting albums, and it's Enslaved, Issa. This album is a prog black metal album, and I just love how Enslaved do it. They really changed things up on this album, and I fucking well love it. I really do, and it's such a really enjoyable album. I just can't praise it enough. This is really different. Enslaved were changing the sound, especially after Mardrom. They really changed the sound, and this sort of threw me back to albums such as Aud or even Frost, because it's got that same sort of sound, but yeah, he incorporates some cleaner vocals throughout this album, which I absolutely love. His vocals are spot on. So with Enslaved Issa, it's an 8.5 out of 10. We move on to one of the most interesting epic doom metal albums I've heard this week. It's Ionis and their album, The Foreshadowing.
I've never felt so alone.
To be honest, the vocals on this album were very high up in the mix, and it was just, I just couldn't really get into this album. I mean, the melody, the instrumentals are okay, the music's fine, it was just these vocals that were just overpowering. Some of these songs are just mediocre, they really are, and for this, I'll probably give this probably 4.5 out of 10. We move on to another Enslaved album called Riitiir, or Riitiir, I don't know how to fucking pronounce that.
Stop it. Get some help.
And this album is very different. It's very different. Again, it's prog metal. It's prog metal. Incorporate elements of black metal, death metal, and every fucking thing out there. Enslaved really harness all sort of genres on this album. At times they sound death metal. At times he incorporates cleaner vocals and harsher vocals and black metal vocals. This album again has it fucking all, and I really do enjoy the overall adventure they are providing you. And yeah, this album really grew on me as well, and I absolutely loved it. I loved it from start to finish. For Enslaved Riitiir, I will give this a 8.5 out of 10. We lead on to definitely becoming one of my favorite bands. It's Riverside, Rapid Eye of Movement. This album is fantastic, it really is. I think it's the album before Second Life Syndrome, which is another fucking fantastic album. Riverside Rapid Eye Movement incorporates that proggy metal goodness that we all fucking love. At times they sound like Tool, at times they sound like Dream Theater. I mean, this band is absolutely fantastic. I love his harsh vocals. His harsh vocals are really good, and it's just a really good fucking album. Really good fucking album to just bang your head to. It's heavy at times, it's soft at times, there are some awesome guitar moments. The drums are out of this world as well. For Riverside Rapid Eye Movement, 8.5 out of 10. An album I heard recently, album I just heard was Warning, Watching from a Distance.
I find again I am starving in your mystery.
Now, this is very similar, to be honest, this is very similar to the new album that I basically gushed on, was Curse the Sun Excruciation. The vocalist on this album sounds very similar to Ozzy Osbourne again. It sounds very similar to Sabbath, and even bands such as Alda, especially the vocals. It's very sludgy, it's very doomy, it's just clean vocals, but damn, it's such an enjoyable album. There's some really long fucking songs as well, and it's very doomy. It's doomy, the guitars are doomy, it's very slow at times, and it's just really enjoyable album. For Warning, Watching from a Distance, I will give this a 7.5 out of 10. Whew, okay, so I'm out of breath here, and I hope you guys did enjoy Discovery for this week. So join me next week for another episode of Discovery. I hope you did enjoy it, and comment below what albums you actually checked out. and I will see you in the next Discover. Read.